I always thought my life was solid. Good job, loyal brother, loving wife. I was wrong. Happy anniversary, Ethan, Claire said, smiling across the table. Her eyes flicked toward the door every few seconds. You expecting someone? I asked. She laughed softly. Of course not. Why would I? The restaurant's lights were low, soft music humming in the background. I reached for her hand, but she pulled back to check her phone. Work? I asked. Just a message from Adam, she said. He said he's running late. Late? I frowned. He's joining us. She hesitated. He wanted to drop by, that's all. It's been a while since he's seen us together. When Adam finally arrived, he looked too comfortable, like he'd been part of the evening from the start. Happy anniversary, big brother, he said, sliding into the seat beside Claire instead of across from me. Didn't expect you, I said, trying to sound casual. Claire invited me, he replied. Claire smiled, awkward but charming. It's better than a quiet dinner for two, right? I nodded slowly. Sure, why not? Adam raised his glass. To love, family, and loyalty, I forced a smile. To loyalty. They laughed, but something in me tensed. Their laughter sounded private. Later that night, I asked Claire, did you really have to invite him? She brushed her hair back. You two barely talk anymore. I thought this would help. Help what? She sighed. You've been distant, Ethan. Distant, I repeated. I work 12 hours a day to keep this house. That's distant? I'm not saying it's bad, she said quietly. You're just not here. I wanted to argue, but she looked tired and guilt crawled up my chest. Maybe I've been too focused on work, I admitted. Maybe, she whispered, turning away. Over the next few weeks, things changed. Claire started sleeping with her phone under the pillow. She'd smile at messages and say, it's just Lena from work. Lena never texted that much. One night I asked, what's so funny? She looked startled. Just memes. You wouldn't get it. I forced a laugh. Try me, she frowned. Ethan, don't be paranoid. I'm not. Just what? She snapped. You don't trust me? That word, trust, hung in the air like a dare. I dropped it. At the office the next day, Lena leaned over my desk. You okay? I stared at the computer screen. Yeah, why? You look like you haven't slept. Claire and I had a fight. About what? I shrugged. Nothing important. Lena didn't believe me. You always say that before something breaks. I gave a tired smile. You sound like my therapist. I'm serious, Ethan. I've seen that look before. You're pretending it's fine, I sighed. Maybe I am, she crossed her arms. Then stop pretending. But I didn't. I went home that night and pretended again. Claire was on the couch, scrolling through her phone. You're late, she said without looking up. I told you I'd be working with Lena. She looked up sharply. With Lena? You didn't mention that. You don't tell me who you're with either, I said. That's different. Why? She set her phone down. Because I don't lie, I froze. You think I do? I don't know anymore, she said softly. Something inside me cracked, but I held it together. Okay, I said quietly, if that's how you feel. The silence after that was colder than any fight. A week later, Adam showed up at the house while I was fixing a shelf. Hey, big bro, he said. Claire around? I paused. She's at the store. Oh, he said quickly. I was just dropping something off for her. I nodded, waiting. What is it? He looked nervous. Just some business files. She's helping me with a project. Business files? I asked. Since when does she handle business stuff for you? He smiled too easily. She's got great ideas. You should listen to her more. I clenched the screwdriver. I do. When he left, I stared at the door for a long time. Something didn't add up. That night, I asked Claire, you working with Adam on something? She hesitated. Just giving him advice. He's trying to start something new. You didn't mention it. I didn't think it mattered, she said. It matters when my wife's helping my brother build. Something behind my back. She crossed her arms. You're overreacting, am I? Her silence said enough. Later, lying in bed beside her, I stared at the ceiling, pretending sleep. Her phone buzzed again and again. Finally, she whispered, "Good night, Adam." My chest tightened. Maybe I misheard. Maybe I didn't. I kept my eyes closed and said nothing. Because sometimes silence is the only way to keep from shattering completely. And in that silence, I realized peace isn't truth. It's just the lie we tell ourselves to survive another day. I'd left my phone at home that night. It should have been nothing, just a small mistake. But when I opened the door, the world I knew ended. Claire was on the balcony, her voice trembling. "I'll tell him soon, I promise, Adam. I just need a little more time." The air left my lungs. My own name, him, hung like poison in the air. I didn't move. "I just listened. I love you too," she whispered. The glass door slid open before I could think. "Who were you talking to?" She froze. The phone slipped from her hand. Ethan. You scared me." "Who was it?" "Nobody. Just Lena." I stepped closer. "Say her name again." Her lips trembled. "It's not what you think." "So it is what I think." She shook her head, tears rising fast. "Please, let me explain." "Then explain." She looked like she couldn't breathe. "I never meant for it to happen, I swear. It just happened." I stared at her. "You mean you and Adam?" Her silence was answer enough. My hands shook, but my voice didn't. "How long?" She covered her face. "Months. I'm sorry, Ethan, I didn't plan it. He was there when you weren't. He understood me." "He understood you?" I repeated, laughing hollowly. "You mean he used you?" "No," she cried. "You don't get it. I felt invisible. You were so busy building a future, I stopped existing in it." I took a step back. "So your solution was my brother?" Tears streamed down her cheeks. "It wasn't like that at first." "Stop," I said quietly. "Don't rewrite the story." She reached for me, but I stepped away. "Please, Ethan, I love you. I didn't want to hurt you." "You loved me," I said bitterly. "Now you love him. Seems simple enough." I grabbed my keys and walked out. She followed me to the door. "Where are you going?" "Away," I said. Before I say something I can't take back. The night air hit my face like cold steel. I got in the car, gripping the wheel until my knuckles turned white. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just drove. I ended up outside Lena's apartment without realizing. When she opened the door, she looked at me once and said, "What happened?" "I couldn't speak, Ethan," she whispered, pulling me inside. "Sit down." I sat, staring at nothing. "They're together," I said finally. Her eyes widened. "Who?" "Claire and Adam." Lena's face hardened. "You're serious?" "I heard her," I said flatly. She said his name. Said she'd tell me soon. "Oh my God." I laughed, bitter and broken. "Guess I saved her the trouble." Lena knelt beside me. "What are you gonna do?" "I don't know. Maybe disappear." She gripped my arm. "Don't let them destroy you. You built everything. Don't throw it away because of them." "Everything I built," I said quietly, "was for her." Lena's voice softened. "Then build something for yourself this time." I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized she was the only one who'd ever stood beside me when things fell apart. The next morning, Adam came to my office. I almost didn't let him in. "Ethan," he said quickly, "please, just let me explain." I sat back in my chair. "Explain how you slept with my wife?" He swallowed hard. "I didn't plan this. Love just happened." "Love?" I repeated. "That's what you're calling it?" He nodded helplessly. "You were always ahead of me. The business, the family, the respect. I didn't mean to take her from you, but I couldn't stop it." "You couldn't stop?" I said, standing. "You could have walked away. You could have told me the truth." "I was going to," he said. "She didn't want to hurt you." "She didn't want to hurt me," I repeated slowly. "But she kept lying every night." He ran a hand through his hair. "I know you hate me, but one day you'll understand." I stepped closer, my voice sharp. "Understand what, Adam? That betrayal feels softer when it's family?" He looked away. "I'm sorry." "No," I said. "You're not. You're just scared of what happens now." He turned to leave, but I stopped him. "One more thing," I said. "If you ever step into my office again, you won't walk out." He didn't argue. He just left. When the door shut, I finally exhaled. My reflection in the glass wall looked foreign, tired, hollow, and older than I'd been yesterday. That evening, Mr. Gray called me into his office. "You look like hell," he said bluntly. "I feel worse." He studied me for a long moment. "This about the company?" "No," I said. "It's personal." "Then I'll give you business advice anyway," he said. Don't make decisions when you're bleeding. You'll ruin everything you built. I'm not planning revenge, I said. He raised an eyebrow. You sure? I hesitated. No, he sighed. Then be smart about your anger. Let time do the work. It always does. When I got home, Claire was sitting on the couch, red-eyed and small. Ethan, please, I raised a hand. Don't. I can't sleep, she whispered. I can't eat. I hate myself. Good, I said quietly. Now you know what it feels like. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed my suitcase, and stopped at the door. You can keep the house, I said, but you'll never keep my peace again. She cried as I left, but I didn't turn back, because silence hurts. But sometimes, it's the only weapon left when words mean nothing. The pen felt heavier than it should have. My signature dragged across the page like it didn't want to exist. Claire didn't look up. Her lawyer slid the papers toward me. That's it, he said. You're officially free. Free. What a joke. I stood. That's all? Claire's voice was barely a whisper. It's what you wanted. No, I said quietly. It's what you wanted. She flinched. Adam sat in the corner, pretending to scroll his phone. You don't have to make this harder than it already is, he muttered. I turned to him. You made it hard the moment you decided she was yours. Ethan, Claire said softly. Please. Please what? Don't make a scene? Don't remind you of what you destroyed? Her eyes glistened. I didn't mean... Stop saying that, I cut in. You meant every second of it. You just didn't expect to lose me in the process. The lawyer cleared his throat. If we're done... We're done, I said, walking out. The hallway outside felt longer than usual. My footsteps echoed like a countdown to nothing. Lena was waiting near the elevator. How bad? She asked. I forced a smile. Officially divorced. Congratulations to them, I guess. She frowned. You okay? No, I said honestly. But I will be. She studied my face. You don't have to pretend with me. I'm not pretending, I said. I'm surviving. We walked in silence until she said, they're starting a new company. I heard it from someone in finance. I stopped. Already? Apparently it's based on your old design pitch, she said carefully. The one you shelved last year? I let out a bitter laugh. Of course. They'll build their empire on stolen blueprints. Fitting. What will you do? Nothing, I said. Let them have their fire. I'm done burning. But I wasn't. Not really. That night I sat in my living room surrounded by boxes, half my life in cardboard. The walls looked emptier without her photos. One frame caught my eye, me, Adam, and Claire smiling on the beach. The perfect lie frozen in color. I picked it up, staring at our fake happiness. You two look good together, I muttered. The lighter clicked in my hand. The flame trembled before I pressed it to the corner of the picture. The fire spread fast, curling the edges into black. Good riddance, I whispered. A knock came at the door. I didn't answer. The knocking grew louder. Ethan, it's me, Lena called. I opened the door. What are you doing here? You weren't answering your phone. I was busy setting fire to my past. She glanced at the smoking ashtray. I can see that, I shrugged. Therapy's expensive. She walked in, scanning the mess. You've been drinking. Just 1 glass, I said. Or 3. Ethan, she said gently, don't do this to yourself. I sank onto the couch. Do what? Feel something? Destroy yourself over people who don't deserve you. I laughed bitterly. You make it sound easy. It's not, she said. But you're stronger than this, am I? She sat beside me. You built a company from nothing. You think you can't rebuild yourself? I stared at the empty glass in my hand. They took everything. No, she said firmly. They took what you gave them. You still have the part they can't touch, I looked at her. And what's that? Your mind, she said softly. Your heart, your will. That's what scares them most. Her words sank in slowly, like medicine I didn't want but needed. I don't even know where to start, I admitted. You start by standing up, she said. One day at a time, I managed a weak smile. You always know what to say. That's because I actually listen, she said. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, frowned, then put it away. Work never stops, she muttered. Thanks for coming, I said quietly. Anytime, she said. And Ethan? Yeah. When you finally rebuild, don't do it for revenge. I looked at her. Why not? Because revenge ends fast, she said. but success lasts. She left soon after, and the silence that followed felt less heavy than before. I walked to the window, watching the city lights blur through the glass. My father's voice echoed in my memory. "It's a test of character, son. Fire refines or consumes. Your choice," I whispered to the empty room. "Then let it refine me." The ashes in the tray had cooled, but they still smelled like endings. I stared at them one last time before turning off the light. Sometimes to rebuild, you have to watch everything burn, and not look away. 6 months can either bury you or build you. For me, it did both. "Still working past midnight?" Lena asked, leaning against my doorway with 2 mugs of coffee. I rubbed my eyes. "Deadlines don't care what time it is." She placed 1 mug beside me. "You've been at this for weeks. You even forgot your own birthday." "I'll celebrate when it's worth remembering," I said, scrolling through code lines that looked like a foreign language after 10 hours. "You're turning into a machine." "I'm trying to build one," I replied with a faint smile. She sighed. "You know, normal people move on with therapy, not databases." "I'm not normal," I said. "And therapy doesn't make prototypes." She sat beside me. "At least tell me the secret project of yours isn't just revenge." "It's not," I said. "It's a rebirth," her eyebrow arched. "You sound poetic now." "Mr. Gray says pressure makes diamonds," I said. "Guess I'm testing the theory," Lena smiled softly. "He always did believe in you. He's the only one who still does." "Wrong," she said. "You just forgot to believe in yourself." The next morning, I met Mr. Gray at a quiet cafe downtown. He looked the same, gray suit, steady eyes, the calm of a man who'd seen storms and survived them. "You look tired, Ethan," he said, stirring his coffee. "I'm rebuilding," I said. "It's messy work," he nodded. "That's what rising from ashes looks like. So tell me about this new venture." I slid my laptop toward him. "It's called Novatech. Anonymous ownership, small team, scalable design." He scanned the data. "Impressive. You're tackling the same market as Adam and Claire?" I finished. "Yeah, only better." He leaned back, studying me. "You sure this isn't personal?" "It's personal," I admitted. "But it's also smart business," he chuckled. That's the Ethan I remember. Hungry and dangerous. "I'm done being someone's shadow," I said. He smiled. "Then I'll back you quietly. No one needs to know where the funding comes from." "Thank you," I said. He tapped the table. "Just promise me one thing, don't burn yourself again." "I'll keep it low flame," I said. Weeks turned into months. I built quietly, no announcements, no noise. Just focus. That's when I met Dylan. He was 22, nervous as hell, standing outside my rented workspace. "Mr. Hale?" he asked. I looked up from my laptop. "You're the intern?" "Yes, sir." Yeah, he adjusted his glasses. "I read your old work. It's kind of legendary. Legendary people don't lose everything," I said dryly. He smiled awkwardly. "Then maybe legends just start over." That line stuck with me. He was brilliant, faster than I expected, always asking questions. One evening, as he debugged a stubborn feature, he said, "Why hide your name? You could own this project publicly." "Because silence builds strength," I said. "Noise attracts parasites," he frowned. "You mean competitors?" "I mean thieves," I replied. He paused. "Like your ex-partners?" I met his eyes. "You've done your homework." "Everyone knows what they did," he said. "They're trending again, some award nomination." I laughed bitterly. "Of course they are." He hesitated. "Doesn't it bother you?" "It used to," I said. "Now I just watch." That night, I saw their faces plastered across business feeds, Adam and Claire smiling for cameras, talking about innovation and integrity. My stomach twisted. Lena texted me a link to their post. "To those who doubted us, success speaks louder than bitterness." I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed back, "Let them talk." I'm not done building yet. A few days later, Dylan burst into my workspace. "Mr. Hale, we did it." I blinked. "Did what?" "The prototype. It passed all stress tests." I stood, disbelief washing over me. "You're serious?" He nodded, grinning. "Novatech's live, boss." The words hit harder than I expected. For the first time in months, my chest didn't feel hollow. "Good work," I said. "Now we keep it quiet." "Quiet?" He laughed. "We could go public, make a splash." Not yet, I said. Patience wins wars. He tilted his head. You sound like a general. Maybe I am, I said. Only difference is my battlefield's digital. Later that night, Lena called. You sound different, she said. Maybe I am, I replied. Happy? Getting there, she smiled through the phone. Told you. Revenge isn't always loud, I remember, I said softly. When the call ended, I looked around the small office. The hum of servers filled the room like a heartbeat, steady, alive. Outside, rain hit the window. I watched it blur the city lights, thinking how storms used to scare me. Now they just reminded me I was still standing. Adam and Claire had their empire built on noise. I had mine growing in silence. And silence, I realized, is the sound of something unstoppable being born. It started with whispers, small, harmless rumors that grew like vines around their company name. Have you seen this? Lena asked, dropping her phone on my desk. People are saying Adam's firm missed payroll twice. I scrolled through the headlines. Employees walk out over unpaid wages. Leadership dispute and hail innovations. Did you? She began. No, I said. I didn't start any of it. She studied my face. But you're not stopping it either. I don't have to, I said quietly. Truth spreads better than lies, she nodded. You really believe in karma, huh? I believe in timing, I said. And theirs just ran out. A week later, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I saw the name Adam. I let it ring twice before answering. Ethan? His voice sounded nothing like before. Rough, tired. Adam, I said flatly. You knew this would happen, he said. Didn't you? Did I? Don't play dumb. Our investors are pulling out, the press won't stop calling, and half the board's ready to jump ship. Sounds like a management problem, I said. He growled. You think this is funny? No, I said. It's predictable, he paused. You could help us. You know how this works, just one statement, one meeting. I'm not your safety net anymore, I said. Ethan, we built this together. You stole it together, I corrected. Big difference. He went silent for a moment. You can't just sit there and watch everything burn. I leaned back, eyes on the dark window. You reap what you plant, he exhaled sharply. You sound like Dad. Maybe he was right about us, I said. The line went dead. That night, Claire called. I saw her name flash across my screen. My chest tightened. For a long minute, I just stared. Then I answered, Ethan. Her voice trembled. Can we talk? About what? Everything, she said. Please. There's nothing left to talk about. I know we hurt you, she said. I know I hurt you. But it wasn't supposed to. Don't, I interrupted. Don't try to rewrite it. I just want you to understand. I understand perfectly, I said. You made your choice. I miss you, she whispered. You miss the peace I gave you, I said. Not me, silence. Just the sound of her breathing on the other end. Adam's falling apart, she said finally. He's drinking, shouting. The company's collapsing. I don't know what to do. You'll figure it out, I said. You always did. Ethan, please. I'm sorry, I closed my eyes. For a second, I almost believed her. Then I remembered the balcony, the laughter, the way she said his name like a promise. Goodbye, Claire. I ended the call. She texted after, paragraphs of apologies, memories, questions. I didn't open a single one. I selected them all and hit delete. Watching her words vanish felt like exhaling after holding my breath for years. The next morning, Lena noticed. You look lighter, she said. I deleted history, I replied. Must have been a big file. Gigantic, I said with a dry smile. She grinned softly. So what now? Now I work, I said. Novatech's launch is next month. She raised an eyebrow. And Adam? Karma's got him, I said. I don't need to. Later that evening, Dylan burst into my office. You're trending again, he said excitedly. I frowned. For what? For winning that government contract. It's all over the news. I glanced at the article. Novatech emerges as industry disruptor, Mr. Gray called soon after. Congratulations, he said warmly. Feels strange, I admitted. How so? I thought revenge would feel like victory, I said. But it just feels quiet. That's growth, he said. You don't crave their pain anymore. You've outgrown it. Maybe he was right. Still, part of me wanted to see their faces, the realization, the regret. But another part of me just wanted peace. When I got home, I opened an old drawer. Inside was a framed photo. Me, Adam, and Claire, laughing on the beach years ago. I stared at it for a long time. Then I turned it face down and shut the drawer. Some memories don't deserve to breathe. Outside, the city lights shimmered like new beginnings. Their empire was cracking. Mine was rising, and for the first time, I didn't feel like a victim. I felt free. It didn't happen slowly. It all crumbled at once. Lawsuits, frozen accounts, leaked documents. Their company was collapsing under its own greed. Lena dropped a folder on my desk. You've seen the news? I've seen enough, I said. They're finished, Ethan. Every investor's pulling out. I leaned back, staring out the window. It was bound to happen, she studied me. You're not even smiling. What's there to smile about? Karma doesn't need applause, she folded her arms. You're colder than I remember. Maybe I finally learned control, I said. She exhaled. Or maybe you learned to hide the hurt. I didn't answer. That evening, my secretary buzzed. Sir, there's someone here to see you. Says it's urgent. Name? Claire Hale. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Send her in. She walked in slowly, hair messy, eyes swollen. The woman who once carried herself like she owned the room now looked like she was barely standing. Ethan, she whispered. I gestured toward the chair. Sit. She sank into it, trembling. We lost everything. I know, I said quietly. Our investors turned on us. The board accused Adam of fraud. He blames me. I poured her a glass of water and slid it across the desk. Drink. She stared at it, then at me. That's all you have to say? What do you expect me to say? I don't know, she said, voice cracking. Maybe that you're happy now. That you won. I didn't win, I said. You lost, she covered her face. I never wanted this. You wanted him, I said. You wanted a new life. You got it. She looked up, tears streaking her face. He's not the man I thought he was. He's angry, paranoid. He says you did this to us. I didn't need to, I said. You did it yourselves. You're lying. I leaned forward. If I wanted to destroy you, you'd never see it coming. This was your own doing. She broke down completely. I made a mistake. People usually realize that when it's too late, I said softly. She stared at me for a long time. Do you still hate me? I shook my head. No. That word seemed to crush her even more. You don't care at all? I cared once, I said. That's what destroyed me. I don't make that mistake twice, she stood slowly. I just wanted you to know. I'm sorry, I know, I said. But sorry doesn't rebuild what you burned. She hesitated at the door. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Claire. When she left, the silence felt heavy. I should have felt satisfaction, maybe even triumph, but all I felt was... Almost an hour later, my phone rang again. Adam, I answered. What do you want? You think you're smart, don't you? His voice was slurred, angry. I think I'm honest, I said. You poisoned everything. You turned people against us. I didn't have to, Adam. You did that by lying to everyone, including yourself. You're a snake, he spat. You'll pay for this. I already did, I said. When you took her from me, he went silent. Then he laughed, a broken, bitter sound. She came to see you, didn't she? Yes, what did she say? That she's sorry, he scoffed. Sorry won't fix anything. No, I said. Neither will hate. You think you're above me now? No, I said. I'm just not beneath you anymore. He cursed and hung up. I stared at my reflection in the dark glass. For the first time in years, it didn't look like a stranger. Lena walked in a few minutes later. I saw her leave earlier, she said quietly. How did it go? As expected, I said. Tears, regrets, and too many words too late. And Adam? Still angry. Still blind, she nodded slowly. And you? I feel nothing, I said. That's not nothing, she said. That's peace, I smiled faintly. Maybe, she walked closer. You did what most people can't, you let karma do the work. I just watched the storm pass, I said. You didn't cause it, she said. You just refused to stand under the rain again. That line made me laugh quietly. You sound like a therapist. I sound like someone who doesn't want to see you lose yourself again, she said. I'm not lost anymore. She tilted her head. Then what now? Now? I looked out the window. Now I live, she smiled softly. That's the best revenge there is. After she left, I sat alone in the dim light of my office. Papers rustled in the quiet air. My phone buzzed once more, an unknown number. I ignored it. The past was over. I walked to the window and watched the city lights flicker below, new towers rising where old ones fell. That's how life works. Empires rise, empires fall, and sometimes the only justice worth having is watching it all happen without lifting a finger. The city was quiet that morning, like even the wind had nothing left to say. I sat by the window watching the fog roll over the streetlights. Everything I'd wanted had happened. Adam and Claire were gone from the boardrooms, their names whispered with pity and disgust. And yet, the silence that followed was heavier than I expected. Lena leaned against the doorway. "You've been staring at nothing for an hour," she said. "I'm just thinking," I murmured. "About them? About what's left after them," I replied, rubbing my thumb along the edge of my coffee mug. "You spend so long fighting ghosts, you forget how to live when they're gone." She stepped closer. "You got justice, Ethan. Isn't that enough?" I looked up at her. "Justice isn't peace, Lena. It's just the end of noise." She frowned. "So what now? You just drift?" Maybe I learn how to breathe again." She walked to the window beside me. "You ever think about forgiving them?" I let out a small laugh. "Forgiveness?" I said. "No, I'm not that noble." "It's not about them," she said quietly. "It's about you." "I know," I admitted. "But I'm not ready to let go like that. Not yet. Maybe never." She studied me for a moment. "Then what are you ready for?" I turned to face her. "To stop carrying them with me." Her eyes softened. "That's something. Maybe it's the only thing that matters now." We stood in silence for a while. The world outside kept moving. Cars passing, people rushing to jobs, lives continuing. Mine felt paused, like I was waiting for something I couldn't name. Later that afternoon, I drove to the cemetery. The road was long, the kind that forces you to think too much. When I parked, the air smelled like rain, and the ground was still damp from last night's storm. My father's grave sat under the same old tree, the one that never lost all its leaves no matter the season. I knelt down, brushing dirt from his name. "Hey, Dad," I whispered. "It's been a while." The words caught in my throat. I'd rehearsed this conversation 1,000 times, but none of it felt right. "I did it," I said finally. "I made it through." They got what they deserved. I thought I'd feel better when it happened, stronger, but all I feel is quiet. The wind shifted, rustling the branches above. It felt like he was listening. "You always told me revenge wouldn't fix anything," I went on. "I didn't believe you. I thought it would make me whole again. Turns out it just removes what broke me. That's all." I set the flowers down beside the stone. "I think I finally understand what you meant about peace. It's not about winning, it's about walking away without needing to look back." A bird landed nearby, pecking at the wet ground. I smiled faintly. "I think I'm ready to walk away now." When I got back to the car, my phone buzzed. "Lena, you okay?" The message read, "Yeah," I typed back. "I think I am." When I returned home, she was waiting by the door. "You look different," she said. "I think I left something behind," I told her. "Good," she whispered. "It's time." We sat on the couch, the evening light slipping through the blinds. For a while, neither of us spoke. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. It was calm, alive. She leaned her head against my shoulder. "You ever think about starting over?" she asked softly. "Every day. With me?" Her words lingered between us like a question I'd been too afraid to ask myself. I turned to meet her eyes. "Maybe," I said. "But not out of loneliness. Out of peace." She smiled, a small, genuine one. "Then that's a start." I looked out the window again, the sky fading to gold. "Funny thing about revenge," I said quietly. "You think it ends with them. But it ends with you deciding who you'll be after." "And who are you now?" she asked. I thought for a moment. "Someone learning to forgive himself." She reached for my hand. "Then you're already ahead of most." I squeezed her hand gently. The world outside dimmed, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel the need to fight anyone or prove anything. I just sat there, quiet, steady, free. A year changes everything. Faces, Fortunes, even the way silence feels. Mine wasn't empty anymore. It was calm, earned. I stood by the office window, watching the city pulse with light. Below, the world kept moving. Cars, people, life. I used to chase it all. Now I just breathed it in. Lena stepped into the room. "You're early," she said, setting her coffee beside mine. "Old habits," I replied. "Still feels strange not waking up to chaos." She smiled faintly. "You built this from ashes, Ethan. You deserve the quiet." "I don't know if anyone deserves peace," I said. "Maybe we just reach a point where we stop fighting it." She studied me. "You're not thinking about them again, are you?" "Sometimes," I admitted. "Not with anger, just memory." Her gaze softened. "You heard about Adam?" I nodded, left the city. "Sold whatever was left of his shares. He's gone. And Claire?" I hesitated, then reached into my pocket, pulling out my phone. "She sent an email this morning." "What did it say?" I unlocked the screen and read quietly. "I'm sorry. I hope you're happy." Lena's voice was careful. "And are you?" I stared at the message, the simple words that once would have torn me apart. "No," I said softly. "But I'm at peace." "That's better," she nodded. "You're not going to reply?" "I don't need to," I said. "Some endings are meant to stay silent." She walked closer, her reflection merging with mine in the glass. "You think she meant it?" "Maybe," I said. "But it doesn't matter. Forgiveness isn't for her, it's for me. And I've already given it, just not in words." The office lights dimmed automatically as the sun rose higher, gold spilling across the skyline. I turned back to my desk, the framed photo of my father resting beside my laptop. I traced the edge of it with my finger. "You'd have liked this view, Dad," I whispered. "You always said light finds its way through the cracks." "I think it finally did." Lena leaned against the window. "He'd be proud." "I hope so," I said. "For a long time, I lived to prove people wrong. Now I just want to live right," she smiled. "That's the difference between revenge and redemption." "Yeah," I said quietly. "Revenge burns everything. Redemption just lets the fire die out." We stood there for a moment, just listening to the hum of the city below. "Do you ever miss the fight?" she asked suddenly. I shook my head. "No. The fight kept me alive, but it also kept me angry. I think I've had enough of both. Then what comes next?" I looked out over the city again. "Maybe I start something new. Something built on peace, not pain." She raised an eyebrow. "Business or life?" "Both," I said with a smile. The clock ticked softly behind us. I closed the laptop and stepped toward the window one last time. The light reflected off the glass, warm and steady. "I used to think survival was about beating everyone else," I said. "Now I know it's just about not losing yourself." Lena took my hand gently. "And you didn't." "Not completely," I said. "But I came close," she squeezed my hand. "Then let's make sure you don't forget why you fought to get here." I looked at her, really looked, and nodded. "Because I wanted peace." "And now?" "Now," I said, letting out a slow breath. "I finally have it." Outside, the city glowed brighter. No longer the battlefield I once feared, but the promise of something better. I didn't need revenge or closure or answers, just the light, just the dawn, just freedom.